Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and remember, context is everything. Media Network founder and CEO John Michael is reading a textbook, cover to cover. Today, this is what we've all been waiting for, so listen up. World War I. Now, this is unit 7 of this entire textbook, starting now. World War I and its aftermath. The past 200 pages have been all building up to this, because every chapter has ended yada yada date to 1914, yada yada date to 1914, yada yada date to 1914. I can keep going. It was 6 chapters. World War I and its aftermath, 1914 to 1919, Section 1, Chapter 27. The stage is set. Setting the scene. By 1914, Europe had enjoyed a century of relative peace. Many idealists hoped for a permanent end to the scourge of war. The future belongs to peace, said French economist Friedrich Passé. Others were less hopeful. I shall not live to see the Great War, warned German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, but you will see it, and it will start in the East. It was Bismarck's prediction, rather than Passé's, that came true. The pursuit of peace. 1 second. I gotta find my sunglasses. New heading. The pursuit of peace. Oh, thank you guys for joining. As the social media marketer of Context is Everything Media Network, as well as the founder, CEO, CFO, I'm the social media marketer. So please subscribe. Please like. Every chapter, a new pair of sunglasses. Today, these. The Jackie O 2s. The pursuit of peace. By the early 1900s, many efforts were underway to end war and foster understanding between nations. In 1896, the first modern Olympic Games were held in Athens. Its founder hoped the Games would promote love, peace, and respect for life. Alfred Nobel, the Swedish inventor of dynamite, regretted the military uses of his invention. In his will, he set up the annual Nobel Peace Prize to reward people who worked for peace. The struggle for women's suffrage supported the peace movement. Dutch doctor Aletta Jacobs argued that if women won the vote, they could prevent war. They don't feel as men do about war, Jacobs said. They are the mothers of the race. Organizations such as Women's International League of Peace and Freedom promoted pacifism or opposition to all war. Governments, too, backed peace efforts. In 1899, many world leaders attended the first Universal Peace Conference in the Netherlands. They set up the Hague Tribunal, a world court to settle disputes between nations. The Hague Tribunal could not force nations to submit their disputes, nor could it enforce its rulings. Still, it was set up to keep... It was a step towards keeping the peace. Aggressive nationalism. Aggressive nationalism is a bad start. At the same time, other powerful forces were pushing Europe to the brink of war. Aggressive nationalism was one leading cause of international tension. France and Germany. Nationalist feelings were strong in both Germany and France. Germans were proud of their new empire's military power and industrial leadership. France longed for its to regain its position as Europeans' leading power. The French were especially bitter about their 1871 defeat in the Franco-Prussian War and the German occupation of the border provinces of Alsace and Lorraine. Patriotic French citizens yearned for revenge against Germany and to recover its lost provinces. Eastern Europe. And this is all in the subheading, aggressive nationalism. In Eastern Europe, aggressive nationalism. The Eastern Europe, Russia sponsored a powerful form of nationalism called Pan-Slavism. It held that all Slavic peoples shared common nationality. As the largest Slavic country, Russia felt that it had a duty to lead and defend all Slavs. By 1914, it stood ready to support Serbia, a proud young nation that dreamed of creating a South Slav state. The Serbians, very good athletes, if they're who I am thinking of, because they have the tennis player and the basketball player, who are both quite good. Here in 2023, as I read this live. Two old multinational empires particularly feared rising nationalism. Austria-Hungary, worried that nationalism might foster rebellion among many minority populations within its empire. Ottoman Turkey felt that the many minority populations felt threatened by new nations on its borders, such as Serbia and Greece. In 1912, well, both of those places don't exist anymore, so it didn't work out for them. In 1912, several Balkan states attacked Turkey, Ottoman. The next year, new Balkan states fought amongst themselves over the spoils of war. These brief and bloody Balkan wars raised tension to a fever pitch by 1914. The Balkans were the powder keg of Europe, we've talked about before. A tiny spark might lead to an explosion. And it did. New heading. Rivalries among European powers. Economic rivalries further poisoned the international atmosphere. Britain felt threatened by Germany's rapid economic growth. By 1900, Germany's new factories were outproducing Britain's old ones. Britain therefore had strong economic reasons to oppose Germany in any conflict. The Germans, in turn, thought the other great powers did not give them enough respect. Imperialism. Imperial rivalries also divided European nations. In 1905, again in 1911, competition for colonies brought France and Germany to the brink of war. Please subscribe. Please like. My name is John Michael, founder and CEO, Context is Everything Media Network. Thank you. Subscribe. Like. Yes. Thank you. Germany wanted to prevent France from imposing a protectorate on Morocco. Although diplomats kept the peace, Germany did gain some territory in Central Africa. As a result, the two Moroccan crises, Britain and France began to form closer ties against Germany. Militarism and the arms race. In the 1800s saw a rise in militarism, or glorification of the military. It grew partly out of the social Darwinism. Very racist. Bad Darwinism. Let's see, how much time are we at here so I can remember to find it. Bad Darwinism, put that at 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Bad Darwinism, previous video, check it out. This is that. It grew partly out of social Darwinism, echoing the idea of survival of the fittest. One German militarist called war a biological necessity. of the first importance. Militarists painted war in romantic colors. Young men dreamed of blaring trumpets and crashing cavalry charges. Not at all the sort of conflict they would soon face. Horses, right? No horses. More gunpowder. Well, maybe there were horses, but not too many. The international tensions on the rise. The great powers expanded their armies and navies. The result was an arms race that further increased rivalry between Britain and Germany. To protect its vast overseas empire, Britain had built the world's most respected navy. As Germany began acquiring overseas colonies, it began to build up its own navy. Suspicious of Germany's motives, Britain, in turn, increased naval spending. Already the best. They were getting better. The readiness for war came to dominate national policy. Military leaders came to gain wider influence on matters of peace and war. Governments turned to military leaders for advice. German generals and British admirals enjoyed great respect and got more funds to build up their forces. This is going to be the end of our time here today. Final heading, John Michael, Context is Everything Media Network, World War I. Please subscribe. Please like. Thank you. A tangle of alliances. Distrust led the great powers to sign treaties pledging to defend one another. These alliances were intended to create powerful combinations that no one would dare attack. Gradually, two huge alliances emerged. The first of these alliances had its origins in Bismarck's day. Otto von, we spoke of earlier, who predicted World War I and predicted that he would be dead by the time it started. He knew that France longed to avenge its defeat in the Franco-Prussian War. Sure that France would not attack Germany without help, Bismarck signed treaties with other powers. In 1882, he formed the Triple Alliance with Italy and Austria-Hungary. The Italian soccer jersey has nothing to do with my allegiance in the World War I war effort. This is frankly what I was wearing after I came back from the beach. That's it. In 1914, when war did erupt, Germany and Austria-Hungary fought on the same side. They became known as the Central Powers. A rival bloc took shape in 1894, when France and Russia formed an alliance. In 1904, France and Britain signed the Entente, a non-binding agreement to follow common policies. Though not as formal as a treaty, the Entente led to close military and diplomatic ties. Britain later signed a similar agreement with Russia. When the war began, these powers became known as the Allies. Okay, so Britain later signed a similar agreement with Russia. France and Britain, Entente. Britain and Russia, another one. So the Allies. Got it. Other alliances also formed. Germany signed a treaty with the Ottoman Empire, while Britain drew close to Japan. The growth of rival alliance systems increased international tension. A local conflict could easily mushroom into a general war. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us, the community of the Context is Everything Media Network. More programming coming soon. Please subscribe. Please like. God bless. Goodbye.